Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all. I'm Priyasha Mohanty, and I'm the editor of Food Marketing and Technology magazine. Thank you for taking time out for the webinar today. This is a very interesting topic, especially because this subject will dictate how the F&B space is going to be over the next decade. So we're very happy to have everyone on board. The topic for today is speed to shelf: how AI and digital foundations accelerate food R&D. Our speaker for today is Mr. Jiong Ming, Solution Specialist at Centric Software. He has over 25 years of cross industry experience. He specializes in enabling organizations to accelerate product innovation and align R&D with digital foundations, driving effective new product development and successful adoption of product lifecycle management solutions. We are very elated to have him on board. Throughout the session, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat box. We will have a Q&A session towards the end where all your questions will be answered. So without further ado, I request Mr. Jeong to start the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John. So thank you for taking the time to join us today. So I'll be going through to discuss about today's topic, which is speed to shelf, how AI and digital foundation will accelerate food for R&D. So what I'm going to cover today will be this couple of topics. First of all, I'll talk about the trend and challenges in the F&B industry, what most of us are encountering, and how Centric can help in terms of the PLM space. Then, of course, everyone is interested in AI right now and how AI is also built into our PLM to actually bring value to the customer, right? Then, of course, at the end, we will have a Q&A session where questions are open to the floor, where you can ask questions and we're happy to answer them. So, first of all, what are the current mega trends, right, or trends that are impacting, the food and beverage company, right? So over here, I talk about India, but actually it's also happening in a lot of company all over the world, right, for the F&B company. So primarily, I will not go through every single one of them, but you'll notice there's demographic shift or change of consumer preference. For example, right, with the newer, a lot of consumer now might have are looking for more, kind of healthy kind of products, or because of more urbanization, people are more inclined towards, rather than home cook, they prefer more kind of ready to eat meal, right, etc., right? And because of all this, right, it impact a lot of company or businesses, the type of product they need to develop, right, so that it can fulfill the needs or the demand of all these consumer and their changes, right? And because of all these changes, company need to adapt, or businesses need to adapt to adjust or to this market trend. Now, this is from external, right, from the consumer side of it. Now, however, from the regulatory side of it, right, or compliance side of it, right, there's also a lot of influence and impact on how the businesses are going to run, right? For example, in India, FSSAI compliance might change. Maybe they want to have, tighter the restrictions so that in terms of your labeling, your requirement, they want to be more transparent. And because of that, again, it impacts businesses, right? In the product, in their packaging, how they should actually change also to adapt to this, to make sure they're all compliant to it, right? Of course, due to regional differences, languages differences, you also need to ensure, right, you are able to cater to all these needs. And especially if you are thinking of export even to overseas, right, then you also need to, adhere to the overseas or different country requirement, compliance, languages, etc., etc. Now, all these are external factors. Now, again, the other trend we see, right, is not so much on the external influence, right, but more also from the internal side, which is digital transformation. As mentioned, right, consumer trends, compliance regulation change, all are impacting how we change, right? And a lot of company knows, right, they would have to transform themselves, right? They need to have digital tool, right, to help them, right, to support or make them adapt to all this change externally. Now, however, all this digital transformation has been talking for a very, very long time. Now, however, how many of them can actually support, right? And if you look at it, right, from a digital transformation, right, a lot of time when we talk about digital transformation, people are talking about really on the sales side of the stuff, right? How to sell, how to do this. But again, if you think of it, right, how much digital transformation is actually happening in the beginning of the development stages, right? When we talk about digital transformation, right, how much investment is IT, right? Looking into the R&D side of it. And if you really think of it, right, all these consumer needs, all this change, right, all started from the development of the product, right, where R&D are really heavily involved to ensure that they need to develop the right product, right, to fulfill the demand of what the market needs and what is the change in the market, right? But a lot of time, right, this digital transformation, the focus is actually a lot of times not put on the R&D team, right, or the development side of it, right? And that's what we see a lot, right? And because of that, right, a lot of R&D team, if you notice, right, what they are doing right now is what you see on screen, right, which is very familiar, right? They have to manage a lot of complexity in terms of development of the products, right? And they are using a mix of, different kind of tools, right? For example, the common things I hear from our customer is, right, they receive, via email, right, about the ingredient specs, right? Then they have to then copy the information into another spreadsheet, right, where they will have to do the formulas. And then they have multiple and multiple copies and multiple versions of the recipes that they have. Then they have another spreadsheet, or another kind of tools, right, that is managed by, again, another team, right, to work out the costing. And then again, they have to then have another spreadsheet, right, being sent over to the regulatory team, right, to ensure, right, the ingredient is all compliance to the regulatory requirement, right? And again, another spreadsheet, right, to manage the whole project management. So as you can see, and we are talking about a team, right, that has to develop product for the consumer to make sure all the stringent regulatory requirements are fulfilled. And this whole development process is quite complex and is very iterative. And people are using all these, silo tool and then try to, fit them together to make it work, right? And if you look at it, right, like I mentioned before, we talk about digital transformation, right? But if you really look at it into it, right, and there's a survey done, right, is that in actual fact, right, only 6%, right, of the F&B industry only achieving full digitalization, right? And you see, it's only 6%. It's not really a lot. And again, right, and like I mentioned, now AI, everybody is talking about AI, and AI requires data and quality data, right, that you can actually leverage on so that your AI can give you intelligence, right? It can give you good reasoning, can give you value, right? But again, if you look in what is currently a lot of businesses that is doing, they have not started even the beginning of digitize. They are actually in the R&D life cycle stage in their R&D department, so that they have a tool, right? That they have a digital tool that they can act as a foundation, so that they can then build AI on top of it, so that it can bring more value and bring more automation in and to the businesses. So how does centric PLM, right, come into the picture, and what can PLM offer, right, to a lot of food and beverage company. So Centric PLM support, the workflow or the R&D teams from the ideation up to the commercialization of the product. So what you see on the screen here is a typical process, right, or workflow within the development stage, where you have to manage all the related product definitions, like I mentioned, the recipe, the costing, the specifications, even with the regulatory information where you can run screening on the recipe at the very beginning stage, right? Rather than, sending to the regulatory department, they find that it's not working, send it back to the R&D team to refine the recipe. Again, you have to go through this loop of cycle, right, which delay the whole development process. Now, with a tool like PLM, we can actually help, right, company, shorten this, what we call speed to market, because we have a single system that actually connects all your various spreadsheets into one single system in a connected system, right? So that you can actually speed or shorten your development time so that you can spend more time efficiently, right, in developing your product rather than spending your time, right, doing, all those kind of administrative tasks by copying, pasting in, different spreadsheets, which is very prone to, errors and mistakes. So to give you an idea how, how PLM looks like, to give you a bit of glimpse, right? So I'll give you a quick demo or overview of how our system will look like. Okay, so what you see here is Centric PLM. So it is a web-based, solutions, which means that especially for businesses where you have team based in different parts of, different area where you work, and a system like Centric will be very helpful because, you can log in different places and you'll get the latest and most up-to-date data about what's happening to your product development. Now, what you see here is I'm logging in as myself, and this is what my dashboard actually looks like. And what you see here is, for example, a widget that shows you, right, the actions that you are being assigned to. So like I mentioned, right, our system has also a built-in project management capabilities where you are able to, not only work with your development, your specs, but also we have project management tools that manages your stage gate process or your approval process into our system. And these are example of tasks that are being assigned to you, and you can actually track what is happening. Or if you are, let's say, the product manager or the R&D team where you are interested in to know, right, what is currently the status of your products, you can also have reports over here where you can actually, run queries and understand where things are going. And to show you an example, right, over here, you can see these are the list of your current projects. Now, this might be your MPD projects, or it might be your EPD projects for a new product, might be a renewal of packaging, all sort of projects, right? You can actually track over here what is the status, right? Some of the financial information about that particular project, and you can track, right, where things are at, right? When is the planned date? When is the expected end date? Are they actually completed? And you will show you color code so that you know, right, where things are happening. And just like any browser, right, if you click on any of the links, it will then bring you straight to the projects. Now, this example where you see project management is also built into our system. Now, not only that, like I mentioned, right, developing a product also involve managing your different packaging. So over here, you can see again, we are able to manage your different type of packaging products, right? Whether they are, what type of materials are these our products? Are they being approved or are they being pending approved, right? How is it, what is the rating, the scoring of that particular product from that particular suppliers? Now, like I mentioned, right, now people are probably looking for more sustainable products, right? You also want to know, right, is this particular packaging material, right, recyclable, compostable? Are they FSC certified, right? What is their specs? So all these are things that we in our system can manage as well. Then, of course, from a managing of your recipe perspective, the most foundation level, of course, is to manage your ingredient or raw material. So as you can see here, again, we have our system is give you the ability to manage different kind of ingredient. You can have the ability to see all the different specs, whether they contain any allergens, any claims that comes from your suppliers, or any kind of certifications or claims as related to this, whether they are organic certified, or whether they are or halal or fat free or whatsoever, right? So from this view, you can easily, right, quickly go and find or filter to find the kind of material or ingredient that you have. Likewise, also you have full visibility of the type of products that you have in your system, right? For example, this product, are you developing for a particular customer? Where are you selling to, right? Which region are you selling to? Then, of course, the labeling information about that particular product, right? Does it contain any allergen? And of course, these are all simply roll up, right, from the recipe or the ingredient specs that we have, right? Any claims that you have, what is the nutritional facts, right, that you have developed in that particular recipe. So again, all this information can be easily, tracked in our system. Now, and of course, just now we talk about traceability, right? So for example, again, one of the other challenge in a lot of company right now is, for example, if they find that there's an issue in a particular ingredient, they want to be able to quickly, right, be able to find, which particular recipe or which particular product are actually utilizing that particular, ingredient. So from what you see here, for example, right, hypothetically, say, for example, this vanilla extract, right? If you want to know, right, where this particular extract is being used, right, in which particular recipe. So in our system, you can easily, right, just go to see what we call where use, and you can easily understand, right, this particular vanilla extract is being used by product A, B, C, right, using which particular recipe, which version of the recipe, and then you can use this, right, to navigate to that recipe. You can decide whether you want to replace that, or maybe it's too high, you want to reduce that. So it gives you a lot of visibility in terms of where your ingredients are used in what product. Now, of course, just how we talk about compliance, right? We talk about, managing recipe. Likewise, if I open up one of recipe, you can see, right? You can straight away know, right? In this, for example, in this particular ice, right? For example, right, we talk about labeling requirement, right? So our system provide you with a tool, right, that gives the ability to automatically, right, roll up, for example, the nutrition effects that you have used in the recipe, right? You will actually roll up or aggregate, right, the percentage of the different ingredient used, right? Or any allergen used in any one of your ingredient that is used in the recipe, it will automatically roll up. And this can actually save you a lot of time, again, without having to actually copy from one Excel spreadsheet to another spreadsheet or waiting for someone to provide you with the information. And all this data can be easily accessed, right, in the fingertips. And again, like I mentioned, right, all this is all revision control, right? So that means if you have a recipe that is already approved, now again, because of regulatory change, right, maybe you can't have that much salt and you have to readjust, and you have the ability, right, to revise it, to reopen the recipe. You can have multiple versions that you can manage in the system, right? So all these are actually captured in the system in a single repository, right? So that it streamlines your whole entire MPD process, right? So that you can, and also the other very important aspect, which a lot of people is not aware, right? It also act as a sort of repository to actually capture, right, your very valuable intellectual property in the system. Okay, hopefully that gives you a bit of quick peek into how our system can actually help you. After having understanding of what a PLM does, like what you say, right? The first step is to actually digitalize it, right? So that you have a single system and to have the foundation, right, to help you, manage all your silo data, which is now all over the place, and it helps you actually streamline your whole MPE process. And that's the start where then now you can start to leverage, right, the power of AI into your whole development cycle. Now, in terms of AI, now again, there are many use cases where we can apply AI. Now, however, where should we invest our money, right? Or what is the effort we should invest in, right? And that is the three things that we centric software based on, right? First of all, is actionable, right? Which means that is this when we build this AI, is it achievable? So that's the first thing. Impactful, right? What it means that which use case will bring the most value? Because if you're going to spend the effort to build an AI tool, right, it needs to be the most impactful, the most value that you can bring, right? So might be, in terms of helping you save costs, or it might be for whatever reason, right? But it need to be impactful. Then the third thing that we need also, right, is to be able to measure, right? So that means if we are going to use this AI, right, how can we, measure, right? How can it bring confidence to the businesses, right? So these are the three things when we build the AI tool into our solutions, and these are the three things that we actually look into. Now, if we look specifically in terms of formula development use cases, right? Now, during formula development use cases, it can start from the inspiration stage all the way to the end, right? And there are many use cases. So for today's webinar purposes, I'll just focus on two particular use cases. First of all is to look into a use case of what we call formula matching, right? And the second will be in terms of what we call material suggestion, right? Or AI formula suggestion. So let's talk about the first use case, what we call AI recipe or formula matching. Okay, so the idea is this, right? So with this AI, the idea is to enhance, right, the responsiveness to, your customer requests. So for example, if you are, let's say, a brand, right, or you are a retailer that you develop your own product, right? Now, if you would know what is your consumer needs, right? Maybe they want it to be, organic. Maybe they want to be low salt or low fat, right? So these are all the formula brief or project briefs that as a user, you need to input in the system. Then via, what we call AI similarity search, right, kind of capabilities, you will then go into the PLM, which is the foundation, right, where you have all the data capture or your IP capture in the system. You will go to the system and then find any recipe that is match or close to the brief, right, that you have defined. And then once you find it, it will actually give you the results. Now, how does it help, right? Because without this tool, right, you will have to manually go into the system, or you have to go and find, right? And sometimes you might not even know that recipe or that product actually exists, right? And you might miss it. So with an AI tool, it will have the smarts, you will have the intelligence to actually go into your entire database, find it, right? Save you the time to find it, and then give you the matching formula, right? So to show you an example, I'll play a video of how this AI formula matching will actually works, right? Okay, so what you see here is now as a user, I'm actually defining some of the parameters of my brief in terms of what I try to achieve in my recipe, right? You can define what the claim that you're trying to achieve. your taste description, what you're trying to achieve, what is the target cost that you want, and in terms of the weightage when you search, right? How much weight should I put on cost? How much weight should I put on weight or to taste, sorry? How much weight should I put on claim? Now, once you define these parameters, now AI is actually going to the system, right, to go and find all the relevant, recipe that matches your brief, right? Now, once you find it, it will actually return and give you like the scoring in terms of how close that recipe actually matches to your parameters, right? And then it will give you the reasoning, right, why it returns this, right? In terms of the taste, in terms of the cost, in terms of the claims, right? Based on that brief information that you want, right? So that is one of the example of the use case about, AI formula matching. The next AI use case I want to talk about is what we call formula assistant, right? Just now the example is in the very beginning stage, right, where you receive a brief, right, and you want to find the closest recipe so that you can reuse them, right, rather than reinvent the wheel. Now, assuming that now you are in the middle of your development, right, where you want to start to develop your recipe, right? Now, but when you develop your formula or recipe, now you want to actually check, right, whether this recipe is compliance, right? If it's not compliance, what are the suggested solution, right? Should I replace, my ingredient, or should I lower the quantity of a particular ingredient, or what should I do, right? So again, this AI will actually help you in that kind of use cases, right? And like I mentioned, right, the objective, right, of this is to actually accelerate, right, a whole, development of your recipe, right, and use AI to give you, reasoning, right, how to fix, the different scenario like I mentioned, right, adjusting the quantity, replacing material, or removing the ingredient, etc., etc. Right? And to show you again example how this is in action, I'll show you a video of how this formula assistant will actually works. What you see here is an example of a particular recipe that I have or formulas that I have. And what you see here is what we call our AI companion, where you can start to, provide prompts of what you want to do, right? In this particular case, you're asking AI to analyze, whether there's any non-compliance. And over here, it finds that there's one particular ingredient that is actually non-compliance. And once you have, and in this particular case, once they find, they will actually give you suggestions. Now, which, options or ingredient that you can use, right? So if you look at the screen over here, it will tell you these are the 3 particular ingredients that's a potential candidate for you to replace, right? And then what is the reason, right, why they suggest, right? Or what is the potential cost of this, and what is the difference between the current cost and the other cost, right? And it'll give you the reasoning why that's the case, right? And that is how the system will do. And again, how do they find out this information? The AI is again leveraging on all the data that you have digitalized in the PLM system, right? So once you find it, after you analyze and you decide what you want, right? It's not that just as simple like a chatbot to tell you what happened. You can start to say, right, now go and pick a particular ingredient and replace. And the AI will then start to go into the PLM system and execute, right, what you ask them to do. So rather than you, go and manually go and change the material. So that's another example of how, the AI is actually utilized in our company to actually help them, right, in terms of getting their job making their job a lot easier. All right. Now, in terms of when we talk about AI again, right? AI is a journey, right? So, and it's not that today I implement AI, it's not right. There's a journey, and there's different maturity level. So today, what we are talking about is just what we call level 1, kind of maturity level of AI, which means that we utilize AI within that PLM itself, right? And again, within the PLM itself, there's a lot of AI use cases that you can build on top, right? To actually improve, that helps your life a lot easier. Now, of course, the next step is that then you can expand, right, the AI not only within the tool itself, but the ability, right, to communicate with different tools. For example, right, talking to another tool within your ERP system. That means AI in PLM talking to AI in like ERP or other system, right? But the key point is this, right? You need to start somewhere, which is coming back to digitalize your current tool. In this case, right, in your product development or R&D area, right? Once you have digitalized, then you can leverage and build on top of it with AI that you can get a lot more value. Then you can start to expand not only within one system, but across multiple systems. Now, so how can Centric, right, bring value to F&B businesses? So now again, these are some of the benefits, right, that this from Gartner research that will actually help, right? Like I mentioned, right, it will actually help collaboration, bring your product faster to market. Now, and at the bottom right over here, these are some of the matrices that I mentioned, right, that comes from Gartner. What are the benefit that you can get, right? And like I mentioned before, the first step is we need to get a single source of truth, right, for the enterprise, and this will be the foundation, right? Once you have the foundation, then you can move on to the next step, which is have AI built on top of it, right? And that is the journey that a lot of our customers are doing right now, right? So like I mentioned, without a digital tool, AI cannot leverage on anything, right, to help you make, smart decisions, right? So that is the first step that we need to start. And the question right now is, you have to ask yourself, right, where are you in your AI journey? Have you even start structuring your data in the digital tools? If not, then you need to start thinking about, this is probably where I should start first before even thinking about AI, right? So this is something for you to think about, right? And this is the discussion normally we have, right, when we talk with customer. They realize, right, they want AI, like I mentioned, but again, there's nothing to support AI. So you need to start from baby step, which is, get a system that manage, digitalize what you're working at the moment, right? So finally, just a quick one to introduce who we are, right? Centric Software. So Centric Software, and we are a PLM leader in the consumer goods verticals, right? When we talk about consumer goods, it can be from non-formulated products like apparel, footwear, sporting goods, right, to formulated products like food and beverage, cosmetic, this kind of products, right? And one thing to note is that we are PLM leader developed specific for consumer goods, not other things, right? So that we know the market, we know the vertical, and we build solutions that are targeted to this consumer or these verticals. Now, and instead of me saying how good we are, I'll just share a story of why one of our customer, Avico, right, decided to choose our solution or PLM solution to help them digitalize their current development process within their R&D team, right?
As Europe's largest producer of potato products in the out-of-home segment and one of the top 5 global market leaders, Avico connects people, cultures and tastes by bringing joy to the tables all over the world. Our specification management system has reached its technical end of life. We have seen the opportunity to improve towards a PLM system. We decided to invest in Centric Software's PLM solution to make our company and systems future-proof for all market-specific product data and regulatory requirements. We needed a modern solution to support our growth plans, manage product specification processes, and make customer service stronger in multiple markets and regions. Implementing the new PLM system at Avico involved many of Avico's teams and departments, like quality, regulatory, innovation, procurement, packaging, commercial coordination, and so on. Avico will enter a new era of software user experience. The modern, easy-to-use, and intuitive look and feel will make the job of all teams involved much easier.
With the new PLM system, we can streamline the management of all product-related data. This makes it easier to access, update, and share information about ingredients and additives, semi-finished products, packaging materials, and products across the company's departments and production plants. In Centric PLM, we can more easily maintain our library data in multiple languages. When a library item is adjusted, this will automatically be reflected in all specs in which the item is included. We can easily generate specifications in different languages, making them suitable for our customers in international markets.
Centric PLM will give us the opportunity to improve end-to-end packaging development. The system holds all relevant labeling information for specific regions and channels to ensure quick generation of compliant labeling briefs. Cross-functional teams use the same data source and have insight in project progress. That way we can collaborate efficiently to define artwork briefs and prove them, but also define, manage and source packaging items, all in one system.
Centric PLM enables Avico to store all information in one system. We have a single source of truth, which allows better support for many Avico teams. We can store supplier-specific data, claims, certificates and contractual documents, all in one place.
For product development, this means the complete product development process is going to be managed and filed in the new system. You can, for example, create trial recipes, or you can calculate a draft declaration or nutritional value. For product management, a new overview will be created that is more easy and shows both existing and new products. But also product changes and projects are going to be mapped and tracked. Centric PLM will help us to automate part of our manual ways of working. You will be able in the new system to track the status of processes like the implementation of new products in real time. Once one step in the process is done, you will automatically go to the next step and the next person to do that task will be notified. This will save us a lot of time searching for the status of processes and chasing after people.
Okay, so this particular video will show you who are our customer worldwide. So it gives you a bit of feel of which are the type of customer, what category the customer are actually using our solution.
With the new PLM system, we can streamline the management of all product-related data. This makes it easier to access, update, and share information.
Okay, so coming back closer to India itself. So if you look at the top left, these are some of the customers that's in India. And if you talk about food and beverage company, Gravis is one of our customer. So they are the Baskin-Robbins brands actually in this current phase is actually using our PLM solution. So the next phase will be expanding to other brands and other categories, right? So hopefully this give you a bit of idea, about today's topic, about how, how we should start from building our foundation digitally, then following by, moving to the AI aspect of the solutioning. So with that, I'll end my session and I'll hand it back to the host.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jeong. And I think we'll wrap up the session with this. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And thank you so much, Mr. Jeong, for taking such a technical and insightful session. I'm sure a lot of people learned a lot from this. And the recording will be available soon, and the coverage will also be available in the July edition of Food Marketing and Technology magazine. And once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining.